Welcome to Twin Cities Adventures, and thanks for joining us. Today you're going to experience this journey where we take you through the woods and show you all the signs before morel mushroom season starts, the temperature of the soil, and some of the wildlife you see. We're also going to take you 2 weeks later where we see the signs and we show you the gray morels and black morels like Samuel's holding right here. And then we'll come back 2 weeks later and we'll show you the signs in the woods and show you the yellow morels that pop up.
I love the smell of morels in the morning. It smells like victory.
Where to start and stop a video like this? Well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this one tree and I'm going to track this tree. I'm going to teach you all the signs that you need to start picking up in the woods, from the growth of the vegetation, the early mushrooms that pop up, the wildlife that you start to see before the morel mushroom starts, all the signs that you see 2 weeks later when the gray and black morels pop. This tree produces gray morels for me every year. And then 2 weeks later when the yellow morels start popping. So this is what I picked today. It's a little sneak preview. After watching this short video, you're gonna become an expert on finding the elusive morel mushroom. Now this is a little bit early in the season. It's the 1st of May in Minnesota. Today I'm gonna show you the tree that I find morels around every year. So we're out about 2 weeks before the season, and I'm gonna take a temperature reading of the soil around it so you can see like what temperature it is. It's currently about 45 degrees in Minnesota, so that's still a little bit early. I'm gonna show you the terrain. I'm gonna show you like what the other trees around it look like. That way you can start picking up ideas on like what to look for. First, let's take a peek around and we'll look at the tree. Okay, so here is this tree. It's half alive. It's actually starting to bud. You can see the leaves just starting to pop out of the branches. That is the perfect environment for the tree roots to send signals down to the mycelium underground to pop morel mushrooms. So let's take a close look around the base. And you can see right away we have a lot of moss. And get down here, it's kind of a dirt sand mixture, very mossy, a lot of down broken branches all around the perimeter of it. And then there's a bunch of thicket that's down around the other side of it. So I pick morels all around here every year. So let's look at the rest of the forest. You can see the leaves are just starting to pop out of the trees. Let's take a temperature reading of the soil. Just put that right in the ground there. 43.7, so it's a little bit colder than the air temperature. It's 45 degrees today, so that's interesting. So I think that morels want to pop when it's about 55 degrees or so at least. So hopefully 10 more degrees in the next 2 weeks. Okay, so later in the video, we are going to reveal a map and specific location where you can find this tree and the morel mushrooms. We'll take you right out to the woods where you can find them, so you can find them too. Now let me show you some wildlife, some wild edibles, and some other mushrooms that I find popping up in the woods 2 weeks before the morel season starts. Behind me, I'll be real quiet in a second. You can hear the spring peepers. The frogs are already up in the ponds. They're mating. Here, listen. You can also hear a woodpecker in the background. Here's those woodpecker holes that bird was pecking on. Just flushed a hen mallard. Check out what I found. Here's some mallard eggs. Those are 4 fresh eggs. I am not going to disturb those though. There's a nice sized garter snake coming out of hibernation right there. I always spook a lot of deer. I've got a patch of wild ramps. Some fresh fiddlehead ferns coming up. Little pheasant back mushroom. And Another one here and right here. This is a really nice big specimen. Let's take a peek at that one. Smells like fresh watermelon rind. Found some red or orange cup fungus. It's a very pretty mushroom. And I found the devil's urn. Here's a close-up. That is what's going on the 1st of May out in the woods in one of my morel spots. Okay folks, I'm back. It's May 13th, almost 2 weeks later. The temperature is rising around 65 degrees and the morel mushrooms should start popping any moment now. Earlier in the video I showed you the devil's urn, which was an early sign right before morels pop. Well, when the devil's urn starts to decay a couple weeks after they bloom, that's when the morels start to pop, and I found one decaying, and right next to it is a morel mushroom popping up. Let's take a look. Okay, here are the exact same devil's urn mushrooms that I showed you earlier in the video. They're starting to implode. They were a nice urn or cup-like shape, but you see how they're folding in and starting to decay? Okay, so right next to it, we have a morel mushroom starting to grow. Look at that. Now that I'm back 2 weeks later, I'll give you a quick tour. You can see a lot more green is popping. There's a lot more weeds. The leaves are all starting to bloom. So that's what the woods looks like 2 weeks later. Another indicator this time of year is the lilacs start to bloom. See, here's a lilac tree, and they're just starting to pop flowers. This is the beginning of the phase. So when you see this, it's time to get out and look for mushrooms. Okay, right off the bat, I'm gonna answer the $64 million question. And that is, what do the trees look like exactly that produce morel mushrooms? Well, right behind me, right there, is a half-dead elm tree. But the thing you need to look out for is that the bark is sloughing off right there. See that? Let's take a closer look at it. Once you spot this look, you'll never forget this. See, the bark is sloughing off the tree. That means it's in the process of dying. It's half alive up there and half dead. And you can tell that the dead branches, there's a cluster of them here. The dead ones are sloughing off all around us. And there are so many morel mushrooms, I can't even count them. I'll just show you like a bunch of them on the ground. Okay, we're sitting at about 49 degrees Fahrenheit. Some people call this time of year fishing opener. Well, I call it morel mushroom opener. See, look at this. 3 of them there. 1 there. They could be considered gray morels. They're just darker than the yellow ones that come in later. They're just everywhere on this hillside. There's another one popping up right here. And then right back here, there's all along this moss. Look at that. Another one there. Another one here. They're everywhere. Another one popping up right there. That's a pretty one. Peeking up through the moss. Look at that. Here's a nice morel mushroom here, and look who's sitting next to it. Hello, Mr. Toad. There's another one popping right there. And some nice little gems right there.
These are my mushrooms. There are many like them, but these ones are mine.
And now I'll show you some wildlife that I see, some wild edibles, and some other mushrooms that I see popping up when the gray and black morels start popping up.
Let's go take a peek at the duck eggs and see how many are in there now.
See, now there's like 10 mallard eggs in there. Jack and the pulpits start popping up this time of year. And the geese babies are starting to hatch. Boom, look at that big, beautiful patch of mushrooms. Mica caps. Let's take a close look at the jelly fungus. Look at that. A huge cup fungus next to my hand there. And then Right here's another one. Check that out. Red tree brain mushroom. And here's a nice little patch of witch's butter. Some drake mallards. Okay, here we are back out in the woods almost 2 weeks later. It's the 25th of May today. And right off the bat, I'm gonna tell you a couple things you need to be very, very careful for. There's stinging nettles in the woods that are up now, and the poison ivy is also up. You gotta be real careful about that. That's why you wanna stick to the deer trails, okay? Let me show you those. Stinging nettles, see it's got these sharp pointy leaves. Okay, look at all the stingers and prickers on there. That will get you. Poison ivy all around here. Keep an eye out for deer trails. See, there's fresh deer tracks here. The deer oftentimes lead you to the morel mushrooms. Okay, we're at the same tree right behind me here. See that guy? And all the yellows are popping less than 2 weeks later. The temperature outside today is 67 degrees. Let's compare that to the soil temperature. Okay, we'll take a quick temperature reading here now on May 25th. The soil temperature is 52.3 degrees. And now look what's under it. A big morel mushroom. Look at the size of that one. Look at that beaut.
There's another one over there. Bit of a smaller one. That doesn't matter though.
See that one? Let's take a look at that one. Nice one, Franklin. Looky there.
Oh my god, I just found the biggest morel mushroom I've ever seen in my life. Check it out. It's so big compared to my hand. Pick that. That's huge. They're everywhere. I love the smell of morels in the morning. It smells like victory. Here I found a morel.
Hold her up.
Right there.
That's a nice one.
Another nice big yellow.
That. All right, so these are the gray ones. And now we're kind of getting to the end of the season for gray morels. Earlier in the video, you saw us pick smaller ones at the beginning of the season. Now this is towards the end of the season. These are still really nice sized morel mushrooms. But now in comparison, check out how big the yellow morel is. It's huge. And you can see the difference now. Grays and the yellow one. Now, wouldn't it be great if they were all this big? We'll just keep searching. This is the beginning of the season now for yellow morels. May 26. So we came back the very next day. I found a few here, some more big yellows, and check out the ones the boys found.
Look at this morel mushroom. Two morel mushrooms. Now we've got 3.
Found a morel right here.
Okay, here we are again. It's May 27th. It's the 3rd day out hunting for morel mushrooms. The first day we picked a ton of them. The second day we picked a ton of them. And the 3rd day now it's raining. And I'm gonna go out there right now, okay? And you have to, because I have to go to work tomorrow. So, and then it will probably rain for the next few days, and then we'll go out maybe one more time. We'll see what happens. So let's go hike out in the woods in the rain on the 3rd day of hunting the yellows. Okay, so here's the back side of our tree that we're showcasing in the video. And The temperature is 56 degrees Fahrenheit, and right below it, look at this. The big yellows are popping up everywhere. It is definitely game on for yellow morels. Here's another one. A couple more right there. And there's my favorite thing to see out in the woods when I'm hunting for mushrooms, other than morel mushrooms. Okay, here's my stash from just a few minutes of rummaging around. Okay, I'm back 2 days later. It is May 29th. After that big rainstorm we had, it warmed up. It's gotten a lot hotter now. It's pushing around 70 degrees outside now. And here's our main tree right here. Okay, and right behind me, look what's growing here. Let's take a peek. We've got a soil temperature reading of 59.3 degrees Fahrenheit. And look what's growing right below it. Some more big yellows. They're getting huge. Okay, this valley's peppered with big yellows about this big now. See, there's variations in sizes. These were not here 2 days ago, so that is fresh morels within the last 48 hours. Another thing that you should know is after that rain and the spike in temperature, the mosquitoes are out. So wear your bug spray or your bug suits. So let's go take a look around the rest of the tree. There's another one here. Right there. And look at that big boy right there. Look at the size of that one. This one's very close to the main tree the video is about. So look at the size of these. They're everywhere. So don't just look in one spot. Scan the area and oftentimes you'll find more. Okay, I'm back again the next day. Today is May 31st and it's 86 degrees out. And look at what I've got here. A couple more big yellows. Let's check the soil temperature. Okay, we're sitting at 65.9 degrees Fahrenheit. And right there, we've got a nice big yellow here and a nice big huge yellow there too. Here's another one here and another one right there. Big yellows. I could keep picking them like this all day long. All right, with the rain that we've had and the spike in the temperature, the bugs are getting really bad. Ticks are bad, mosquitoes, chiggers, no-see-em. The poison ivy's high, the itchweed's high, stinging nettles are high. You better watch out if you're out this time of year. I'm kind of hoping for the season to end, but then I don't want to stop picking them. Now this tree won't produce forever. Once it fully dies, it'll stop producing, so you need to start looking for other spots. Scan the area that you're in and look for other half-dead elm trees, or even elm trees that look like they have a future of rotting or dying or decaying. We have about 10 more spots that we've been watching over the years, and they're starting to produce, so you always got to be out scouting. Never have I ever picked morel mushrooms in the rain.
Drink, Papa.
That reminds me, make sure you always bring a lot of extra water into the woods because when you're out foraging, you'll get really dehydrated.
Pop quiz. Which morels are gray and which ones are yellow? Yellow, gray, gray, yellow, gray, gray.
And now I'll show you a clip of what the forest looks like this time of year, some of the wildlife that we found, and some of the mushrooms that we found. The lilacs are in full bloom right now, so you can take a look behind me. As you can see by the height of the buckthorn around me, this is how tall the weeds and all the brush has gotten since a month ago when we came and started the video here. You can see how green the trees are also around me.
Look at that garter snake on the pheasant back mushroom.
And look at that nice cluster of oyster mushrooms there. Let's take and pop one off. Look at that. Okay, here's a clip of the mallard and the little baby ducklings. In the early spring, I just followed them down to the pond. The oak maize gill mushroom, the wood ear mushroom. Let's take a close look at it. There's two of them on this branch here, and they look like an ear. That's why they're called the wood ear mushroom. The hexagonal pored polypore mushroom. At first glance, you might think this is a pheasant back or a dryad saddle, but these are smaller, like dwarf polypores. They are very similar. You could get confused. These are also edible. Here's a big, huge patch of wild raspberries. Check out the size of the jelly fungus this time of year. Also, this time of year, the cottonwoods are shedding. So it looks like a snowstorm just happened right now at the very end of May. And now this is the part of the video where we show you the exact spot where the secret tree is, where all the morel mushrooms grow. First, we're gonna show you on the map, and then we'll show you how to get there in the woods. Okay, let's take a look at the map here. Okay, so this is the way to the morel mushroom tree. It is up, left, down, left. That will get you right where you're going.
Up, left, down, left.
First, you just find any deer trail, and then you go
Up, left,
Down, left. You see? Here we are.
and the map never fails. Here we are at the tree that produces all of the morel mushrooms. Now, if you're watching this short film, I hope you've picked up a few tips on what to look for, the signs in the woods, the other mushrooms that are in season, and some of the wild edibles, so you can forecast when and where you can find morel mushrooms too. And we hope that you check out our playlist, Minnesota Mushrooms, on YouTube. Thanks for joining us on our adventure through the wild wilderness. Good luck and happy mushroom hunting.